You're listening to Life Check Yourself with life coach, transformational leader, and dating and relationship badass, Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important life and love issues you want to know about. So if you're ready to life check yourself in your relationships, your career, and the areas of your life that matter most to you, and you're not afraid to be called out on your, stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
Life Check Yourself with Robbie Kramer. Is he really into you, or is he just trying to have sex? Ladies, welcome. I am so excited because while we love Christopher Gillis, he is out on vacay with Dr. Emily, hanging out in Costa Rica. And I was like, we have to have like a manalist, a man expert to do a deep dive on our funny little TV program, The Bachelor. So Robbie is a dating coach. He's been a guest on the show before. He's just a regular guy with a fiance also. So, I mean, I have a lot of things that I want to talk about with you, but like overall, like what was your big picture takeaway about like, what can we learn from this crazy episode that was all about, shrimp and mean girls?
What they call it, Shrimpgate?
Shrimpgate, yes, Shrimpgate.
Yeah. Oh man. So it's just so interesting. Shanae's approach, this aggressive, I'm out for blood approach. I can't possibly fathom that works long term. That sort of aggressive. I mean, even with him, somehow he doesn't really know what's happening, I feel like, behind the scenes, but she is just so aggressive towards him all the time. Like any guy who is kind of like grounded in his masculinity, I feel like that's going to be a turnoff down the road. It may be fun at first.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, because I think so many women feel like, for better or worse, like their sexuality, there's a whole and I used to be one of those, like, I had like, a full figure at like 11. Right. And so I was like, oh, boys like me because they want to touch my boobs. You know what I mean? And so as I was growing up in adolescence, I had a story going on that I used my physicality to get attention. Right. And so I think a lot of women have that limiting belief, and that's because there's a moment in the show, for those of you who don't watch, where like she's not part of a date and she gussies herself up and just shows up and basically straddles him, and at first he's sort of like, and this is what I want to kind of break down, like at first this this sexy woman walks in, but it's like he's talking to someone else, and there's that moment of like, oh, I'm being approached, but I'm talking to someone else. And that seemed where at first I was like, oh, cool, Clayton. You're reacting in a way of sort of like, this isn't cool. So like that first moment, like what's that guy thinking, right? Like,
yeah, you could tell he was a little bit, I don't know if it was uncomfortable, but just not super, his body language showed that he wasn't super excited to see her at that moment. He was preoccupied. He was talking with someone he was enjoying talking with. I forget who it was exactly, but and she had a history of interrupting and doing that sort of thing. So I can only imagine from his standpoint, he was kind of like, oh my God, here we go again. And I think he's obviously attracted to her. She's beautiful and he likes what he sees.
Right.
But I just feel like her energy of like just this pressure all the time can't work long run. I just see that like it's just too much. There's no way that he's going to be able to feel like he's investing in the relationship because she's doing all the investing.
She's doing all the work, right? And that's what's really interesting. And so at the beginning, he's sort of like, whoa. But then, as we say, his little head starts doing the talking, right? And he's like, oh, wait, okay, bye, nice person I'm talking to. And he gets completely thrown off. And that's what I want to talk about, because I think that when you lead with sex, you might get the short-term result. Like, if you're the woman who like, hits up the guy and says like, hey, at 9:30 at night, like, why does that not work for the long term?
So the long run, it just, you might, as a guy, you're probably going to say yes to that, to
Invitation.
that immediate
Yes.
invitation, right? But those invitations quickly lose their value because you don't feel like you're having to do anything. You're just like, all right, well, we value things that we have to invest in, things that we have to put effort into. And if it's just coming so easy, it just doesn't, it very quickly burns out. And I've had that experience many times where the second I felt like I no longer have to do anything, I can literally like just be lazy and she's going to do all the work. She's going to, seek me out, as especially like I loved the chase. Like I enjoy the process of courting a woman. And I know it's kind of like my job to advance things. But when she's doing everything for me to the point where I don't even have to do anything, then I'm just like, all right, first, I think there's something wrong with her. Because
right. That's interesting, right? You're like, why is she working so hard to sell me?
Right. Exactly. I either feel like something's wrong with her or she's just like in this place where, I don't know, maybe I'm just like a means to an end. Maybe she's not really that interested in me. Maybe she just wants to, hook up and get over an ex or something like that. So I start to question all of her motives at that point.
Well, yeah. And it's like, are you just seeking validation? And I know this, we know in the context that this is a show, and it's really odd just as a show, by the way, like this is really rare that a woman is so out there about winning, like not really giving a shit about at all, like just loud and proud about it. Usually they're like a little more subtle. So I do think that in reality, there are some women, and we talked about this last week, where you just want to win, right? You just want to get the hot guy, right? Like, and you're doing that for some sort of external validation. And I do think in our development, like, I work with a lot of women who've been divorced. I was sort of like that in my own divorce post, where I was like, wait, I could do whatever I want, right? Like, I'm not the nerdy high school girl anymore, right? So there's value in that, but it's not really going to help you for the long term. But yet, so he does throw her up on the counter, the bar counter, and she walks out. Now, here's what's interesting is, and we don't know about like overall whether he knows what's going on. He came out in the last, like, I think 24, 36 hours from our recording this saying like, I had no idea that was going on. Like, I apologize. He's kind of embarrassed about it, which leads me to my next question. And somebody actually asked me this the other day. When do you apologize? Like, when you do your work and you're like, oh my God, I treated my ex like shit, or I was totally this way, or I shouldn't have done that. When is it okay to apologize? Do you need to go back and do those repair things? And how do you know if it's sincere or it's just an attempt to get back together with someone?
That's a great question. So I think when you need to apologize I think the reason why I have done this in the past, and it was usually, I did it for myself. It wasn't like, obviously I thought they would appreciate it.
Right.
But it was something that was just bothering me. It was in my own space. And I felt like I needed to address it. And apology was due. And it was, maybe I was just feeling guilty or whatever it was. And every time I did it, looking back, there's only one instance where the ex-girlfriend, I cheated on her.
Yeah.
So, I totally understand why she wouldn't accept my apology.
Right.
Right. But I was kind of carrying that around like years later, and I had never really forgiven myself.
Yeah.
And when I spoke to a therapist about it, she's like, you actually need to forgive yourself because, you made a mistake. People make mistakes. And if that requires you calling her and apologizing, or just at least kind of having a dialogue, that probably allow you to move past it. And she didn't accept my apology. She didn't really want to hear from me. She said, never contact me again. But I was able to move past it at that point.
And here's the key point, ladies, is like the relationship is over. And in this instant Clayton, like it's over, right? We don't know if he ends up with someone, but they recorded this months and months ago. It comes out, he's watching it. It still shocks me that these people don't see their season until they have to watch it in real time. Talk about horrifying. How do you sleep at night, like in the months in between? Same with the women.
I was thinking of just how maybe horrible Elizabeth was feeling when they shot this episode, when she got, she didn't
Booted.
get the rope.
Yeah.
She got booted. And then now she gets to watch it and maybe finally get some redemption, but at the same time being like, you are so evil. Like, come on, Shanae. Like, how could you be this, like, evil? Like,
she's getting a ton. I mean, I was doing a little research. She apparently, her Instagram account disappeared for a couple of days. She's saying it was hacked into. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they do, cast a villain. It is a TV, and that's like a whole other conversation I was having with my adult daughter about the future of television and how there's so much rightness that needs to be had in society right now, that I do understand how these television producers are like, I mean, drama often comes at the expense of people living in the hurt part of themselves.
Right.
Right. And saying things that are completely unacceptable. Yet there's in a story, there's got to be a hero and a villain. So, but Lord,
they totally have to do that. And there's so much time that they're editing out, right? And it's so easy for them to paint a different picture with just like clips and bites. So as the watcher, you don't know if this is even reality. And it's crazy. I was actually on a reality TV show once, just for one, like a game show.
Oh yeah.
And the finished product was so wildly different from what actually happened, and they managed to make it work. But
what game show were you on?
It was called Instant Recall. So it was like this hidden camera game show. I thought I was going to a party with my girlfriend. Instead, I walked into an intervention, and they were filming the whole thing. And like I was the person that was like, I was in the limelight without knowing it.
Oh
and
my God!
Eventually, as it got more and more awkward, they did this big reveal, and everyone comes running out and like, you're on a game show. And then I had to answer. It was actually at the Bachelor mansion.
Oh my God, you've been in that mansion. How much dust and...
It's not very nice.
No, that's what I've heard. It's not very nice. And what a great metaphor for my next question, by the way. Because this happens, I mean, I have a client going through this right now. When everyone else says, this guy is no good for you, or everyone else is like, I think you could do better. And you are the person who cannot see it. And I, again, like there's how many women saying, this person isn't kind and, or this person, isn't the way that they are with you, with other people. Why do men do that? Why do women do that? Why do we not see it when everyone else can? And what do we do about it?
I think we're blinded by attraction, which is a way stronger emotion than logically what's good or bad for you in the long run. Because attraction is like, it's here, it's now, it's the only thing that really matters in the beginning. And there might be a million red flags and like every reason why you should stay away from this person. But attraction, even, that can make you just want them more. It's like the quintessential story of the mom telling, or the dad saying to the teenage girl, to his daughter, like, you're not allowed to date that guy. What does she do? She runs and dates a guy.
Right.
By saying that, I don't think you're helping your cause. I don't, unless many, many people say it, kind of like what happened where all three of the girls came up and said that, Shanae was rotten. And he was already kind of like, what's going on with her? Maybe that could sway him a bit, but still it could just likely push him towards her even more. So it's not a great strategy in my opinion.
Do you think, based on what you observed, do you think Clayton has a ton of self-confidence and self-worth? Can you tell?
That's a really good question. I think he's confident. I think he's a good dude.
Yeah.
And I think he's pretty well spoken. Like I was impressed because either he is or the show's doing a really good job of making their Bachelor look good.
Right.
But I feel like he's well spoken. He does come across very sincere. They're always like hammering, he's so sincere, he's so sincere. So I'm like, okay, yeah, the guy's sincere. I think he's, I really couldn't find a lot that I have to say like bad about him, but I don't totally like buy into who he is yet. And they keep showing this future clip of I'm so broken, which that's like so ridiculous to me because I'm guessing what it is. It's like, why am I having sex with all these beautiful women? I'm so broken. That's what they want.
So here's my theory. Theory. He is making up. He in his little who self is still the fat kid, and he's like all these pretty girls.
Think he was fat.
He was overweight. I think he was overweight.
No, I went back and I listened to that again because I was a fat kid.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear the exact words he said. And he never said he was fat. He said, I didn't like my belly and I didn't have a six pack. And he said he wasn't gaining weight like the other kids. So what I think was going on is he was actually just skinny.
He was small.
Right. He wasn't showing abs, so he wasn't like a big, strong, buff guy. But because I was a fat kid and I had like insane fat issues for a really long time. But I think that was slightly different. And so I was like, yeah, whatever, bro. You didn't have a six pack. Cool story. Like I was actually fat. So I was like, I don't
But so you get it. So wait, because I don't know if you saw this episode and I'm sure you don't want to go back, but a couple weeks ago, they basically did forced fake therapy and they all did you see it? Okay. Yeah. So he's saying that. So here's my thing, but I think he has shame, like he has not good enough shame that is lingering. Right. And it was just mental and I think this is so great because I think women get so caught up in that guy who looks so great, right? He's the buff guy, like he's the college athlete, he's a professional athlete, right? And we forget that we're all human, right? So I just think that like you had your issues from that other physical self. And I think that he is just like, wow, I can't believe all of these amazing women are so hot, want to bang me, and I don't have to do anything. Like you were talking about. And Chris Gillis used to share this story, and I'd love to know if he said there was one woman back in his days when he was not his best self, and every Sunday he would watch football, and like clockwork, this woman would call, and she'd be like, hey, what are you doing? I was thinking of bringing over some Chinese food and like watching football. And he was like, if you bring me the food and you come into the cave, I'm going to say yes.
Totally, right?
Right? And so I just wonder if why he feels like so broken is because he's acting out of trying to fulfill this like need for validation or this need to like, make up for lost time. That's just my like gut. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, just to want to go on The Bachelor in the first place, right? That's, there's some, like, I get it. I spent like many years just trying to bang every woman I could,
right.
Just, like living like Dan Blazarian lifestyle. And I'm really glad I did it because now it's out of my system and I'm very happy in a monogamous relationship now. But I definitely think that has to be going on for someone to want to go on the show on some level, to experience this insane amount of abundance where all of these women are just like, take me, choose me, please, please, please. Like very few guys ever get to experience that.
Right. No, absolutely. Well, yeah, very few guys get to experience. And they're like, they try and like paint a picture of these characters. Cause like I always say when we talk about the show, these are all characters. Like we don't really know the real person, but they're like, oh, he's from the Midwest. He's like, genuine. And, look at Colton, the other football hero who ends up coming out, right? Like 2 years later. So it's like, we're all, that's what I love about the show is that the lens of like who you really are, no matter what kind of manufactured scenario they're creating, your humanity is still coming out. Okay, here's my other question. So we talked about what's attractive. And I oh God, what's her name? What's the pilot's name?
Rachel.
Rachel, yes. Okay. Yeah. Rachel, so they have this great time. So Rachel is a pilot. She's like a flight instructor. She's attractive, like seems pretty cool to me. And he's like, wow, why are you on the show?
Why are you single, basically, right?
Why are you single? Yeah. And and also she talks about, how she wants to have this career and her ex was like, that's not going to work. I don't want you to be bigger than me or a bright light or whatever it is. Why are guys turned on by fiercely independent, like women that have goals? Because I think a lot of our listeners have a story of like, I'm too intimidating, I'm too much. But Clayton is like, wow, I'm really intrigued by this person.
Well, I think so. Why are we attracted to that?
Yeah, what's attractive about that? Because I think women don't understand that that's attractive.
I think like I love that. I find that very attractive. I think that the only guys who don't find that attractive have their own insecurities where they feel like I'm not enough, and if she shows me up, then how could I ever, like, if I can't be the man in the relationship and at least kind of do the career thing, if she outstages me in that, then there's nothing left for me. So I think it's only those guys who can't handle that and who can't hack it. So I think everyone else should be attracted to that.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah. And I was imagining Rachel like out with the boy. Like imagine, right? You're out in a social situation. There's this couple and you're like, hey, and then, the woman, you're like, what do you do? And she's like, oh, I'm a pilot. Everyone's going to be like, oh my God, no way. That's so cool. Like, right? And the guy's just sitting there like, well, I sell medical supplies,
I'm over here too.
Right, exactly. And so I can sort of understand. We don't know anything about her ex, but I could see how that could happen, right? Because there's just not very many young, attractive, or just period women pilots, right? Or women in aviation. So Clayton is super, super attracted. Do you think of the relationships that you saw that weren't psychotic or mentally unwell? I think there's also Teddy. Like she talks about
like Teddy.
Yeah. What did you like about Teddy?
I love how Teddy doesn't have any sort of chasing energy that a lot of the other women have. She's just like, here I am. They had the initial spark right off the bat in the first episode. And she's just, she's a little bit, I think she's younger and she's a virgin. So I missed
that detail, Robbie.
Really? Yeah, she's
got that.
I definitely got that. So she,
you're like, Clayton's like,
right? Yeah. I don't think he knows that though.
Oh, he doesn't know that. Yeah. Wow, that makes so. I wonder if she makes it into the old fantasy suite situation.
Yeah, I feel like she does, but later. But so he doesn't know that, as far as we know. And the only time she ever expresses any insecurity, she's like, yeah, you haven't really been hanging out with me. Like, I don't know if you're still interested or not, but she's never, like, he initiated the first kiss with her, which I thought was a big deal because so many of the women just like lunge at him.
Yeah.
Like, the kiss are like, it was something I really needed to do, or they're like making corny jokes. It's like cringy, like pickup line stuff. Right. And I'm like, if he wants to kiss you, he's going to kiss you. Like, and he's going to like it more that he had to like make that happen, especially like given the scenario and the framework. If you're making all the moves for him, like come on, it's just such a bad strategy, as I was mentioning earlier. But, so yeah, I love how she's just playing a very much like, here I am. I think you're awesome, but you gotta make it happen, man. So I love that.
She also exposes a vulnerability, I thought, in a really classy way. When she talks about like, I had this insecurity like from before that I didn't get validation from my dad. And I just am making sure that that's not, like I get that was going on for me, but I'm not about that. Did you notice that?
Yeah, she did. I thought that was cool that she was like, I'm obviously like working on this and I'm not trying to bring it here. And I was like, wow, that was like very
grown up,
conscious of you and adult of you, I guess you could say. So I really like that.
And I think that's a different, and I think like if I could, if we were, did you watch American football? Do you like football?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember John Madden? He just passed away.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. He used to do he was the first to, I'm older than you. He used to do the first to do the X's and the O's on CBS. But anyway, if we were going to go back, I would say that would be a highlight of, people should watch that over and over again of how do you share like your stuff in a classy, dignified way without putting it out there or without and this is what she did that most of these women don't do. She said it in a way without painting herself as a victim. Like, my dad, and I was, it's just like, yeah, I have some shit and I'm trying not to bring it here and I'm just aware of it, which is like, I thought that was great. And he how do you feel about how he responded to that?
I don't remember exactly, but I thought it was, no red flags went off. Everything seemed
He was like,
good
yeah, he was like, yeah, I sort of get that too. And I was like that too, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's like, yeah, I grew up in a household of boys as well, and we didn't really share emotions very often. Or maybe that was a different woman who came and said that to him. But there was, I felt like he does a pretty good job of being vulnerable and listening. Like all the women on the show, there's like, I feel so heard, I feel so validated. He's definitely doing that right, I think.
Well, I know, and what's so funny is that's a leftover from last season with Michelle, where her whole beef was like, I'm not being seen by, and so there just is this, I don't even know what you call that. It's this universal situation where these women who are on this show, it's really important to be seen. I think it's a fine line of like being seen versus also like, pick me. Do you see me? Like, give me attention. And I just want women to like just notice for yourself, like, are you doing that or are you like, you're hearing me? In that interaction with Clayton and Teddy, I felt like she was, like vulnerable in a way that created connection, rather than being like victim-y and gross. So who do you think like gave the best date vibes? Like, energy on the date, interested but not aggressive, and why?
I love the date vibes from the one where they had to sing in downtown LA together.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I forget her name.
Me too.
She's shorter, like half Vietnamese, half.
Yeah, what was her name? I can't remember. We're bad at names here this week. Okay, but that's fine.
Yeah, everyone knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you watch the show.
I really liked like her approach as well. I felt like she was very genuine and sweet and the right amount of, like investing in him and allowing him to invest in her. So I really thought her energy was great and they seemed to really hit it off. I think he gave her a rose right after that date.
Yes, he has definitely been giving out roses on dates. Do you think that there is a front runner?
Good question. I don't know. It seems so focused on the drama. Which have to do that as TV, of course. But I think he kind of secretly has one eye. I could be totally wrong at this, but I'm going to throw it out there in case I'm right, so I can say.
Okay, I was right.
I think he's got a secret thing for Genevieve, and we just haven't really seen that yet because they had a cool meeting. I think it was on the first episode, and I think she's cool. She seems very much to be like just doing a good job of handling all the drama that's going around her and knowing when to like step in and not. And they haven't had a ton of time together since that first shot, but I think there's like a special connection there that we'll see more of. That's my guess.
Yeah, it's so. And I was thinking about. We'll wrap up talking about this. Is like when there's all this drama going on, and there are these women that are not getting involved in it, and there's this old saying like, you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. And, I just am wondering like, what is it that makes some of these women, and I know, and I'm sure some of our listeners are these people, but there, when there's going to be drama, there's going to be a story, there's going to be a triangulation. They want to just jump into it. Like they need to be right. And where's that coming from? And is that a red flag for just like being in a relationship with that person?
Well, I think with Genevieve in particular, she was kind of sucked into it. And she didn't just jump in, or she felt like she had something to say that furthered the conversation. And that's kind of what I look for. Like if someone seems to be high drama, I'm really looking for, are they creating drama? Are they like, ooh, drama, I'm going to run towards that because I like conflict and I like to be in that energy? that's going to be a red flag for me because I hate drama and I'm very low key and I don't mind if obviously anyone I date is going to be more dramatic than me, and that's kind of fun.
Right.
like, but someone who's like looking for drama and just looking to like create tension when there doesn't need to be, that's really the red flag that I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I think, it's interesting because there's with this Elizabeth thing, it's like Elizabeth in the last episode, like Elizabeth wasn't saying anything.
Yeah.
She was just like, fuck this.
Totally.
And she had these advocates, and so it's like there's a really fine line of when do you just let it go and not need to be right? And I think that was super classy on Elizabeth's part.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, she tried to just be in her own space. And then Clayton is like over listening in the background of this argument. He said recently that he thought that was just drama, but from the way they edited it, I was still sort of like, how could you not, like, still in the drama, who was being the most, like, saying the most obnoxious things, right? Like,
right.
It was still Shanae.
Yeah. Yeah, there was really nothing. I felt like Elizabeth was very graceful how she handled the whole thing. I couldn't really ever say like, I was impressed, and I was embarrassed for Clayton that again, it could be the editing, but I was like, come on, man, like, how do you not see this? Like, there's so many murmurings of everyone saying like, this chick sucks, she's psycho. You're listening to the conversation. She's accusing Elizabeth of lying. She's gaslighting everyone. She's just like so aggressive. How can you not just be like, all right, chick is cray, like,
yeah, like back up. And this yeah,
banger. Like, I think that's either they're editing it or he just really wants to bang her because it's
and the thing is, ladies, if like there's that guy, like he's not ready. Like he might be saying, he's like looking for a relationship, but if there's still that attraction and that he just isn't able to get past his own sexual desires and urges, like it's just like be cautious and concerned. Like if I were sitting in that room, I'd be like, and this has happened on other seasons where there are moments where the rest of the cast is like, I'm starting to get a little concerned about Bachelor or Bachelorette because they're into this person. And that's concerning for me because they might not be my match. And I think that because Clayton isn't confident enough, he's not standing up for himself, meaning that in most recent seasons, probably late 2021, 2022, we see the lead saying, I'm going to get rid of the drama person, and they go right away. Old school Bachelor was they would like keep, it was almost like they were keeping them around just for the show. And,
right.
And he's not doing that. So another concern for me is like, he's not advocating for himself. He's not able to say like, yes, I want to bang her, but also, and so my big picture so far takeaway on Clayton is this boy is not ready for a serious long-term relationship.
Yeah, I think that's spot on because he's complaining about drama. He's canceling dates because of drama. And here's the high drama person. There's no doubt who she is. If you don't want the drama, just say bye. But he just keeps bringing her back. So I just think he wants to bang her. And I totally agree. I don't think he's ready for it. He's just like basking in all the attention and validation and glory. And just like, like I get it. It's great. But you're on the show to, put a ring on it. So
allegedly. Yeah. And then I follow this dude, Dave Neal, who does these little Bachelor YouTube things. And he showed a clip of Clayton starting his, I'm using air quotes, fitness Instagram. I'm using this platform to talk about fitness. It's like bullshit. You're just going to sell fab fun boxes like everybody fucking else in Bachelor Nation. But that's okay. Becoming a reality star is now an official career. So that's what you want to be when you grow up. Football didn't work. Go for it. All right. Closing thoughts. You're coming on next week too, right?
Yeah, I'll be on next week.
All right. So what are you looking forward to? What do we want to watch out for next week? And second question to close is like, so what should ladies take away about their own dating lives from this episode?
So I think you should watch out for both Susie, and I think she was really cool. I think she's, I like her vibe, so watch her. Very graceful, very like cool, down to earth, very attractive, like from a personality. Of course, she's beautiful too, but she stood out to me. And then the girl who's like really funny, she's very interesting. She brought the pillow to say, like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, because she's just like a great example of like how to be cute and like use humor. And I just find her like really adorable. And even though she's like a lot, she's still fun. So,
all right, we're going to watch for those two ladies. And then what's your overall like takeaway, best piece of dating advice for women after watching this most Shrimpgate episode recent?
I mean, I would just say that like, what I mentioned before, like you've got to let the guy invest. If you don't give him that opportunity to invest, he's going to lose interest. And I can't tell you how many times in my dating past, I just, I got bored or I lost interest just because like she took away the chase from the very beginning. And I'm not saying you have to play games, but you don't want to just like throw yourself at the guy and be like, you can do anything you want. I'm going to be waiting for you. Because then you can't respect someone that's behaving that way, right? Like if they have no boundaries, it means they have no self-respect. And I don't want to be with someone who doesn't have self-respect because they're probably not going to respect me. So
I love that. So ladies, don't send that text. That one that you keep thinking that you're going to text, the one you're asking your friends, should you send it? No, just don't. Take a breath. Wait till next week. Let's see what Robbie has to say. Robbie, thank you for being here. Thank you for investing your time and your heart and your life, like your life's energy into this crazy ass reality show so that we can discuss it. You did a great job. Ladies, whatever you do, don't forget, life check yourself. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning into today's show. So if being in an intimate relationship in which you feel 100% seen, heard, and accepted by a high caliber man is a priority for you right now, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit for working with me and my team at Dating with Dignity, here's what I want you to do. Just head over to DWD VIP. That's D as in dating, W, D as in dating, VIP.com, and book a call to speak with my team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 60 minutes, and you'll get crystal clear on what's stopping you from finding true love right now. We'll also take a look at what you want to create, what you want your whole life to look like when you're able to finally be fully expressed as a woman in a healthy relationship with an incredible guy. And if we can help you get from where you are right now to where you want to be, we will show you the fastest path possible that makes sense for you to do that. We help smart, successful women all over the world solve this one missing piece in their life so they can finally have it all. So to see if we can help you do the same thing, head over to DWDVIP.com. I'm Marni Batista, and let's talk soon.